Hey, howdy loose fans, welcome back to the IronHeart gaming channel. Today we're breaking down one of the biggest updates the game has ever seen. Update 19 drops on Wednesday, December 3rd, and it's packed with a brand new map, a huge artillery overhaul, 6 new vehicles, major gameplay rebalance changes for armor and anti-tank, and a mountain of smaller tweaks and fixes. In this video, I'll take you through everything coming in Update 19 and give you my honest thoughts on each change. First up, Smolensk, a massive new Eastern Front battlefield set during the 1943 Soviet offensive to retake the city from German control. If you've seen any of my experimental branch videos, you already know I'm a huge fan of this map. This is now the largest and most detailed urban map in Hell Let Loose. It looks incredible, especially the night variant with burning buildings lighting up the streets. The devs even built a new atmospheric visual effects system just for this map, and in my opinion, it really shows. You'll be fighting across bombed out apartment blocks, tight city streets, industrial yards and train stations to name just a few locations. As someone who loves urban gameplay, this map is exactly what I want. Close quarters, intense and unpredictable gameplay. Unlike open fields where you can get sniped from 300 meters away, here you can get up close and personal. What I really appreciate is how fresh the environment feels. There's new buildings, new rubble piles, new layout logic, and instead of fighting across key features like most maps, you'll be fighting along the river or along the rail line, and it genuinely feels like a new experience. And because the buildings are brand new, you get that sense of discovery yet again. Clearing rooms you've never seen before, navigating layouts you don't already know by heart, and never being sure where the enemy might be hiding. It brings that feeling back of the first week you played Hell Let Loose. If you want to see more of Smolensk, check out my recent gameplay videos from the experimental branch. I had a blast trying out the map in a number of open playtests. Next, we have the biggest gameplay shakeup, a brand new class of vehicle called Self-Propelled Artillery or SPAs. These and the Rework static artillery are only accessible for the new artillery squad, but more on that later. The devs have hinted that this name, Self-Propelled Artillery, and their features may evolve over time. But here's what's coming in Update 19. Each faction gets its own unit. The Soviets get the KB2, the Germans get the Brumbar, the Americans get the Sherman 105, the British get the Churchill AVRE, and the Afrika Korps get the Panzer III short barrel tank, and the British 8th Army get the Bishop 25 pounder. These vehicles are built around howitzer style guns, with the exception of the Churchill ARV, which actually utilized a mortar system, but in the game they all serve two roles. Indirect fire for long-range bombardment and direct fire as close-range shots against fortifications or armor. They hit incredibly hard with a 31-meter high-explosive blast radius. Their armor-piercing rounds are capable of one-shotting everything except heavy tanks, but aiming them at specific targets is going to be a tricky one. They also have the ability to destroy all player-built structures with the exception of garrisons. The ability to destroy middle-tier fortifications such as hedgehogs, level 2 barricades, and barbed wire has been removed from the heavy tank because during gameplay the devs decided too many vehicles had this ability with the addition of the SPAs. SPAs also come with a few drawbacks. They got slow turret traverses, massive shell drop in terms of projectile trajectory, and they take long to reload. Aiming is also a bit different. You'll need to combine the barrel elevation as seen in yellow and terrain elevation numbers as seen in red to land somewhat accurate shots. Now, I personally would have loved to see more open top SPAs like the M7 Priest or the Hummel, but the devs explained why they avoided them. They said, it was decided to not include these particular vehicles for several technical and design reasons, including there were concerns that an open top vehicle would be too easy for enemy recon squads to kill, leading to issues similar to the original recon artillery loop. With static artillery already being present as well, the goal was to introduce vehicles that brought something new to the game that could be used alongside the old artillery. They added, while some details about each SPA unit are different, such as movement speed, armor, turret radius, etc., many of the core elements like damage and firing range are currently the same. Due to adding 6 vehicles of a new type into the game simultaneously, they have been kept mechanically similar for balance reasons. Rest assured that post Update 19, once feedback has been collected about their current level of balance and usage, each unit will receive more unique elements that better represent their real-life counterparts. So, the devs have been upfront that the SPAs are not launching in their final faction-unique forms. They're intentionally similar for balance reasons and will be refined post-launch based on player feedback. For example, the Churchill AVRE only had a real-world range of about 100 meters. The dev said that they might reduce its range in the game drastically in the future and increase the explosion radius as a compensation. Now, I love the concept of historically accurate vehicles with unique playstyles, but it is a bit frustrating to see the release in an obviously unfinished state. Being told, don't worry, we'll fix it later, doesn't inspire much confidence. SPAs could be an awesome addition to the game, but it's going to take a few patches and responses to player feedback before we know how they're going to truly fit. Static Artillery is getting a complete overhaul, centered around a brand new artillery squad. Each team can have a maximum of 2 arty squads. The squad includes 3 roles. Artillery Observer, this is the squad leader. They have a flare gun to mark targets, they can build outposts for the squad, and have access to the command chat to coordinate with other team members. The Artillery Engineer has a wrench to build static guns, nodes or defensive structures like barricades, and they have a blowtorch to repair the static guns or the SPA. They also have mines to safeguard their firing position. The support, they carry supplies for the engineer and help operate artillery. There are 3 spaces in the SPA for all of the squad, but artillery guns obviously only have 2 seats for the gunner and loader. Presumably, the observer will be positioned near the target with line of sight so they can direct fire from the static artillery or even the SPA. From update 19 onward, only artillery squads can build or operate static guns. They are also the only ones who can use SPAs, so no more jumping on artillery as any class to farm easy XP. The static artillery itself has been redesigned. Only 1 gun can be active on the map at a time, rather than the 3 that potentially could be used currently in the game. It must be built with 50 supplies at any of your team's HQs. Luckily, the support role comes with a 50 supply crate. Destroyed or dismantled guns will trigger a 5-minute cooldown before they can be rebuilt. Ammunition is now tied to the gun itself, not team-wide munitions, so the commander has an ability to refill any static gun's ammunition, that's HE and smoke rounds, by spending munitions. The loader can no longer jump between the gunner and loader seat, and the gunner's turn radius is reduced, and this is to encourage teamwork between gunner and loader. This means that static artillery now really becomes a 2-man job. Now, I personally don't play artillery that much. Sitting in a HQ and firing at targets you can't see isn't for me, but some players really do enjoy that fire support role. But the Observer does sound more interesting to me, as now you can potentially get to watch your artillery squad rain hell on the enemy and direct the fire from there. On the flip side, as someone who plays a fair amount of recon, camping the middle HQ to shut down enemy artillery has always been one of the game's most tedious chores. Anything that reduces that necessity is welcome in my book. For me, the ideal solution would have been deployable mortars instead of on-map artillery. In my vision, arty strikes should become a command ability like we have now, and artillery players would still be able to get their kicks from lobbing shells at enemy positions with mortars that could be built anywhere on the map, making it more interesting for recon or other squads to hunt them down since they won't always be in the same spot every match. The way to stop them becoming overpowered would be to limit the number of mortar squads you have, perhaps 2 per team, and limit the range they have so they have to be relatively close to their target, and give them limited ammo which needs to be physically resupplied. Maybe each mortar round could cost 10 supplies, so a basic 50 supply box placed near the mortar would provide just 5 shells. I made a whole video about my mortar ideas in case any of you were interested. With all that being said, it will be interesting to see how artillery overhaul and the SPAs will impact the game going forward. Update 19 also brings a wave of balance adjustments. For the armour, all tanks have had their top speeds reduced. Apparently there was an issue with tanks having a far higher top speed than intended. That's good news for AT players like me, because tanks were zooming around in update 18, which made it difficult to get that last kill shot. Seeing tanks top speeds cut down a bit is probably a good thing. Recon tanks are getting buffed slightly across the board, with more health, more damage, better turret rotation, better elevation rates. Trucks, jeeps and half-tracks are also getting the top speed increased, and the player-built ammo depots can now resupply 20 rounds instead of just 10. On the anti-tank weapons front, the bazooka, Piat and Panzerschreck now carry 3 shots instead of 2, and bazooka penetration has been increased to match that of the Panzerschreck. Now, I'm not totally on board with this one. One of the best things about Hell Let Loose, in my opinion, is its asymmetry. Making the anti-tank launchers behave the same across all factions erases a lot of what makes the game unique and isn't actually historically accurate. The Panzerschreck was literally developed in response to the bazooka, and because it fired a rocket with a larger warhead, it had significantly better penetration, so buffing the bazooka to make it match it feels unnecessary, especially when the US already has plenty of advantages. For example, the US has more automatic and semi-automatic weapons across its loadouts, and now the bazooka's been buffed, making the US side even stronger overall. I don't think it's necessary, especially since medium tanks were just buffed in update 18 to require 3 solid hits to kill them, rather than 2, as it was before. Now this buff to the bazooka and the addition of an extra rocket round for AT launchers just potentially cancels out that buff to medium tanks. On the plus side, the BAR and FG-42 are getting deployable bipods, which is a fantastic change which has been long requested by the community. Even though it might seem like a small thing, it has been something we've wanted for a long time, so to see it finally added, it's a good move if you ask me. Alright, last up, Update 19 adds a bunch of new cosmetics for both the Germans and Soviets, including some completely free items. The dev has said these free ones are a thank you for sticking around with them through all the issues that arose with the previous update, so that's a nice touch. I'll be doing a giveaway for the new DLCs soon, so stay tuned to the channel for more on that. But some of the highlights of the new DLCs include new tank skins for the Crusader and T-34 medium tanks, new commander cosmetics for both the Germans and Soviets, as well as new heads for both the factions and one infantry outfit and helmet for each side. There are also new artillery squad specific cosmetics for the Germans and Soviets, while I think the other factions just get regular armor squad cosmetics for the time being. Alright folks, that's update 19 in a nutshell. We're getting Smolensk, the biggest and most impressive urban map to date so far, a brand new artillery squad and the first iteration of self-propelled artillery with 6 new vehicles, a full static artillery rework and significant vehicle and anti-tank balance changes, plus a smattering of new cosmetics including some free DLCs. Update 19 brings a huge amount of content and some big systemic changes that will reshape gameplay over the next few months, and some of it looks fantastic right away, but some of it, especially SPAs, will need a bit of refinement, but it's exciting to see the devs experimenting and pushing the game forward. They have said that they are committed to responding to community feedback, so let them know in the comments what you think about Update 19, what excites you about it, what are you concerned about. As always, if you've enjoyed the breakdown or found it helpful at all, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends and subscribe for more Hell Let Loose news, guides and gameplay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.